I am the rift between life and death, the thin divide between breath and grave.
Yorick may be dead to an extent, surrounded by the corpses and lost spirits of the Shadow Isles, but his 1,000-year-long quest to lay a country's worth of people to rest cements him as one of League's most human characters. He's an old undertaker, a monk from the Blessed Isles, corrupted by the black mist into an immortal soul. In life, he had the ability to speak with souls long after they'd passed, a gift he uses in death to lay the Isles to rest after 1,000 years.
This land will never heal, but I will lay it to rest.
He sought vengeance against the ruined king, the man who had corrupted his home in search of the waters of life, from which the only remaining liquid hangs from Yorick's neck.
But for the waters, the mist would take me.
Yorick's voice work is the best in all of League of Legends. Now, there are voices who are more commanding, like Mordekaiser and Azir, and there are champions which have spectacular delivery, like Viego and Swain, but none are as impressive to me as Yorick. His voice manages to capture everything about his character so well. He's somber and sad, with a definitive sense of depression to his delivery.
These isles, how they scream.
But above all, stays determined and certain, with a small tinge of hope.
The ruined king will soon meet the victims of his curse.
Hope and depression are not easy to convey in the same sentence.
Everyone I knew is dead. How are things with you?
His voice actor, Daniel Rorden, does an incredible job of including, there's probably a better term for this, but a growl in his voice while he talks.
You decay and do not know it. I will not damn you. I will end you.
Seriously, I dare you to try to do this without sounding like an edgy 12-year-old. I have no idea how he pulled this off so well and so consistently.
Hallowed or profane, I no longer know.
But, I mean, the guy also plays Alduin, so I guess it checks out. He conveys the gravity of Yorick's history very well. Being the only survivor from a country is undeniably traumatic, and well, some lines are delivered like he's on the brink of a mental breakdown.
The constant wailing of souls in torment.
Ultimately, Yorick is the perfect intersection between incredible writing, good direction, and even better delivery. Yorick's tale is so beautifully set up. A humble monk using the powers granted to him by Viego to take him down while the waters Viego coveted keep Yorick alive. And they screwed it up so bad. 3 years after Yorick's rework was released, Senna was added to the game, and she stole all of his lore and his entire character arc. She can also control the mist. She has a bind to Viego and his late wife for some reason, and her character arc is also to kill Viego. I just remembered how badly this was written. Let me give some additional context. In the middle of 2021, the Ruination event was launched with an in-game visual novel aspect, some side comics, and an animation all depicting the same events. Said events were so incredibly nonsensical that they sound like fan fiction. Lucian and Senna made the incredibly sensible choice to hire people chosen seemingly at random, and this dude they straight up invented, all from completely different corners of the world, that travel to the Shadow Isles and fight Viego, and not the monk or tree who live there and have made it their life missions to kill him. At the time, the reason for this was blamed on the event being written by the Skin team, but I don't believe this was ever substantiated as far as I know. They make a lot of parallels between Lucian and Viego, as both are incredibly desperate to save their wives from the Black Mist. So, pray tell, why then am I clearly expected to cheer as I watch Isolde get sniped by Akshan? Viego has been chasing after his wife for 1,000 years. Look how happy he is. Then it plays the Avenger Endgame music after she dies, and I'm expected to be like, yeah, hell yeah, Senna, you keep that man widowed. Thank God you guys get to be happy. It sure is a good thing we stopped that guy from being able to see his wife. None of this is even mentioning the fact that Yorick's maiden is heavily implied, and sometimes outright stated, to have been at least partly Isolde. Yorick rocking up with Viego's wife and uncorrupted Mistwalkers by his side would have been an incredible way to end this event. They can't just, like, you know, kill Viego because they can't kill League characters, and so they had to give him this really awkward raid boss pose for the upcoming MMO. Now, let's scrap all that, and here's how I see an ideal ending to this. Yorick helps Viego realize he's being manipulated by Thresh, and after some confrontation, Thresh dips, taking Viego's control of the Shadow Isles with him. Viego becomes human, except Isolde is gone, mostly, and has to live with the consequences of his actions while having a new plotline alongside Yorick, the man who wanted to murder him, stop and jail the jailer. As for the rest of the Sentinels, as described in the Ruination novel, they were an order founded to protect the Blessed Isles, and so I could see them trying to make the Shadow Isles inhabitable again while Yorick and Viego hunt down Thresh. This is where the other Shadow Isles champs could show up, like Callista, Gwen, Maokai, and Hecarim, to defend or kill Thresh. Unfortunately, for this to happen, Riot would have to write character development. I'm afraid that's something they've only ever managed once. So yeah, Yorick was incredibly forgotten. He received some love with the recently released, and very good, story with him and Alawi. It kept him human and tragic, expanding on that, but it retconned his goal in the Shadow Isles from killing Viego to making a giant graveyard instead because, well, frankly it had to, and ultimately it just kind of made me sad because there's so very little for Yorick to yet do. Yorick is a character that is so forgotten that when Ahri's Spirit Blossom skin was released, she straight up usurped Yorick's title as the Shepherd of Souls. Yorick even has a skin in this skin line now. God knows what its lore is meant to be if Ahri stole his title! Speaking of Yorick skins, I can't end this video without talking about the hat debacle. Late 2021, right after the Sentinels event actually, Riot announced new Pentacle skins for all of the champs who had received one in the past. The band was getting back together, basically. In all of their goddamn marketing material, Yorick was shown with this sick hat. I was excited because, like, sure, the event that he was clearly objectively meant to be in was a complete disaster, but you know, a sick Undertaker hat could make up for it. Yeah, so the skin doesn't actually have the hat. People made such a stink over this, and Riot basically went, yeah, sorry, Yorick doesn't make us enough money, go kick rocks. And that was that. Their excuse was that they couldn't make it work in time and it screwed up the silhouette too hard, which is extra hilarious when you look back at old Pentakill Yorick and he's got a goddamn hat on. Thanks to all my patrons, you're all quite lovely people. Love you all, and good night.